All right, it is Monday, April 6th. We are still in quarantine in our respective homes in Los Angeles. One place we are not, Tate, is Atlanta, Georgia, for the national championship, which should have been taking place tonight. Mm-hmm. Your thoughts? I'm gonna be controversial and say I wish college basketball was still going on. I wish we were in Atlanta, and I wish we were crowning a national champion tonight.
Yeah, those are good thoughts, because I wish Jim Nance right now was, getting his tie loosened up to take off and give to his most outstanding player of the Final Four, to award a team like we saw last year with Tony Bennett, with the Virginia Wahoos getting revenge and getting their title in Minnesota. What's really funny? I was like going through this weekend, and you lose track of time. I'm like, oh my God, it's Saturday. This would be Final Four Saturday. Then I look at my Facebook, and it's a time lapse from a year ago, and it's you. And it's our good old friends, Dalvin Cook and Derrick Rose and Thad Young and Taj Gibson, and they're all just hanging out with us, and we're judging a dunk contest, and that was just a mere 365 days ago. And now, like you said, a year later, we have no Final Four. We're not in Atlanta. We don't even have the 3-on-3. I saw a little clip of Justin Wright Foreman from last year in the Rotunda in the Mall of America. Justin Wright Foreman cutting somebody up and scoring.
Is the 3-on-3? Is it officially canceled?
I think they officially canceled it. So we will not be doing the Dos Equis Lounge for the 3x3.
I thought it was just postponed. I thought they hadn't called it yet. I thought
what would be great? So Augusta National, obviously the Masters, they announced today that the Augusta is going to have the event November 9th through the 15th. It would be great if the 3x3U was like, we will also have our event that same week. No one really knows what timeline is actually reality. At this point, so people are just throwing out time. Yeah. The Masters already picked dates. So maybe they'll do that. That's our fingers crossed.
Do you think we can actually move holidays? Is that possible? Can Memorial Day actually be moved? Is that something that can happen? I guess why not, right? What if the government came out and said we're moving Memorial Day to August? And I mean, who's to stop them? I guess
Labor Day is December 1st.
Yeah, Man, I'll be honest. I'm still in denial about college basketball, about the season being. I don't know. I still it makes sense. It's like if you're making a list of the 100 craziest things that are the 100 most unbelievable turn of events in the world, or I can't believe this is the new normal that we live in. College basketball being canceled probably isn't even in the top 100, and I understand that. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just bizarre. It's there's not going to be a national champion, and that's very obvious to say, but it still is not really sunk in that. I will be telling my kids, I'll be like, yeah, in 2020 we just we didn't have a national champion. It was very, very strange. Do you have any update on the your pursuit to find national champions? You were on the beat of all the theoretical teams hanging banners, all the outlets that were claiming that these teams would have won, the simulations going on. Do we have any updates? Is there anyone else that's running algorithms or anything?
So the ball is out, and we're still trying to find what court is actually going to do a rule here. You know what I mean? No one knows who is actually going to come out and say, like we said, we've seen the Senate in Florida make a decision with Florida State. The last simulation I saw ran was by an analytics lab that works with Nike up in Portland. And they ran their simulation, and guess who won? Oh my goodness, the Oregon Ducks. And Peyton Pritchard was the most outstanding player. So that's probably the best update I have. Oregon would have won in this analytics lab simulation of the tournament. I will say this: I think eventually, as time wears on, and we get into maybe say into July, early August, and the fodder is kind of boiling over. Teams are claiming championships. Like John Calipari, as Tyrese Maxey announces today on Twitter that he's leaving to go to the NBA, and Cal's basically saying this kid would have been, standing with me with Jim Nance on this day today. You know what I mean? Getting a tie and representing the 9th championship for the Wildcats. So I think as that continues to sort of spiral out of control, maybe there's a chance that someone will say, Kansas is the number 1 team this year, and we crowned them the de facto champions. I think there's a real chance that will happen because of so many people claiming a title.
Is the Helms Foundation still a thing? Can we get them resurrected if they're not? The people that were dishing out titles that this is what they're for, right? Is they go back and they give Carolina a couple titles, right? You guys claim those?
Yeah, we got 1924. Yes, thank you very much.
You were crowned 1924 national champions in like 1976.
seven titles. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of people in 2017, they thought that
everyone-
was the sixth title, but that was the seventh title.
Everyone on the 1924 team was dead when they were crowned national champions.
Hey,
but damn it still counts.
That's what family's for.
Here's what I say we do. I say we do this the ultimate fan bracket that we're doing here. I say,
oh yeah, that's right.
We got to add that to the list. Whoever wins this thing should be crowned national champion. If you're new to the program, if you're not understanding what's going on, if you missed it on Saturday when Tate and I were on TV and we were looking great and our we were sitting exactly where we're sitting right now. We're just wearing tuxes. Mm-hmm. We laid out the bracket. And here's how this works. It's basically just a vote where Fox wanted to build a bracket. Why leave it up to like bozos like us to argue over who the best fan bases are? Why not just like let the fans show out and vote? So the vote is happening at CBB on Fox. The way the bracket was picked, I actually love this idea, Tate. And I'm not saying this because I came up with the idea, because you and I did not come up with this idea. Mm-hmm. We're just facilitating it. We were the hosts. We're the pretty faces that show up on TV and present it, but we did not come up with this idea. I love the idea of doing the bracket by Twitter followers. So the way the bracket was put together is all the at-large bids. We did 32 at-large bids, or 32 automatic bids. I'm sorry, where the top
in the conference,
the top in each conference, the top, the Twitter account in each conference, the official men's basketball Twitter account that had the most followers got an automatic bid. From there, it was the next 32 most followed teams. And then when we did that list, that we had 64, we realized like Louisville wasn't in, Florida State wasn't in, Baylor wasn't in, San Diego State, like all these teams that, Florida State might have been in, Baylor wasn't in, I think. So basically, some of these teams that were having like great years, like somehow weren't in. We're like, that's weird. So we decided to make the last four, like the final four, the first four play-in games, whatever, teams that were the top four teams in the net rankings of this season that weren't in the bracket already. And it was a very like scientific thing. So like it was no opinion. It was nothing like that. I saw people were hot, Tate. Like Rutgers fans especially, they went 8-1 at the rack this year. What happened? What happened to your family, your religion, and Rutgers basketball, Tate? They were very, very hot that they were left out. Cincy and Xavier fans were snubbed. I saw Wichita State did not make it. They did not like that. Marquette fans didn't make it. Who else was snubbed?
Wake Forest fans, right?
Wake Forest. Yes. A lot of people were upset, but it was like, what do you want us to do? Like, if we introduce subjective, thoughts into this, then it's an absolute mess as to who gets one seeds and who gets whatever. So we just left it up to the Twitter followers. If you wanted to be in the thing, maybe tell the guy running your Twitter account to buy some more bots like Duke did.
Well, that's the problem. Like, right. So we've gotten some of the results, right? The votes are out right now. This is live. This is in action, and we're seeing some of the results come out. And as we predicted, or as we talked about on the show on Saturday night, the Duke Blue Devils, they may have bots. They're the most followers, 2.some million, 2.5 million, right? They are losing right now, currently, largely to Lehigh, which again, like shows that maybe those Marquette fans and have turned on, the Duke people, and they've decided to now vote for Lehigh. We don't know what's going on, but it's also this is teaching all of us, right, about just one, how much people will vote in hate, not in love. You know what I mean? Like Duke is losing because of that, I think, early on. Another upset is App State, a school that's used to upsetting people. They're beating Oklahoma, which is a 2 seed right now, which I think is interesting early on in the polls. Your Ohio State Buckeyes, they're in a fight right now against Louisville. That's a tough matchup. Bad matchup.
Second half team. Bad matchup, but we're a second half team. We're going to be okay. Virginia is currently losing to UMBC by a lot of votes. Yes. This was the genius of this bracket too, is I swear to God, it just shook out this way that Virginia was a 5 seed and UMBC was a 12. And then they ended up in the same region somehow. Iowa was a 6 seed. Dayton was an 11, which was awesome because of Luka Garza and Obi Toppin head-to-head battles. That is by far, like, if you look at the votes that have happened, the Iowa Dayton one is like dwarfing all the other votes, the total votes that are coming in. Those two, they got to play each other. We got to get Fran and Anthony Grant to do a home and home with those two teams, because my God, those fans hate each other so much, and it's just it's so good. So anyway, I think this is one of those ideas, Tate, that like it is maybe something you're just kind of like lukewarm about at first. You're like, yeah, it'd be cool. I'll vote here and there, whatever. But as this thing progresses, I could see all these fan bases like this treating this as like the most important thing in the world. We don't have basketball. This is the next best thing. So yeah, go to at CBB on Fox. Let your voice be heard. You don't just have to vote on matchups that you are a fan of. Like, so if you're if you're Tate Frazier, for example, and you're a North Carolina fan, you don't only have to vote on North Carolina matchups. You can go say vote for, I don't know, Lehigh against Duke if you want. That's okay. We'll allow it. So yeah, go vote. Go throw Ohio State some votes. We need it. The entertainment does not come from Ohio State losing in the first round. It comes from Ohio State making it to the Elite Eight, me convincing myself that we're going to win this thing, and then and then that's when the fans turn on us and vote us out, make North Carolina and Ohio State play each other in the Final Four. That'd be sweet.
I don't think we have that much pool, and I will say this. So. Whoever wins the Dayton Iowa first round matchup is destined to go to the final game. Basically, at this point, just based on the fact that they are going so hard at one another that they continue to climb. And by the time they get to the second round, they're going to dwarf whoever they face. And you mentioned the Duke Lehigh thing. Duke, I mean, they have the celebrity fans. They have Martha Hunt, the Victoria's Secret model. They have Todd Gurley. He's back in Atlanta and Georgia. He's going to get those people all riled up. They haven't seen the poll yet. We still have 2 days.
Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley is a huge Duke fan. Did you not know this?
Wait, what?
Yes, he's from Tarboro, North Carolina, and he's a huge.
The Todd Gurley that went to a power conference school with a halfway decent. I mean, well. A basketball program.
Yes. Well, and also like he was coming off the Trey Tompkins, Travis Leslie year. So like an actual basketball team. Even Kentavious Caldwell Pope, I think, was there when he was there. But yeah, he was a Duke basketball fan. Anyways, those Rob Lowe, those guys are going to come out of the woodwork and start like promoting this stuff. I also was just thinking about for Oregon, like Ahmad Rashad, he may come out. Like if Ahmad Rashad comes out and starts retweeting this stuff, there's like some sneaky celebrity people that may get involved.
Yeah, like who's the celebrity do you think that has the most that will realistically get behind this and has the most pull? I guess we'd have to really think about it.
Drake
with Kentucky.
Drake. Yeah, Drake basically and Coach Cal, because Coach Cal's been on Twitter. He watched the 2012 title game, like the rewatch that they had on CBS Sports. He like live tweeted the whole thing. I could definitely see him and Drake getting together on Twitter on a live stream, just getting people fired up because they're upset that they're a 2 seed. The Kentucky.
Right. Yeah. Big Blue Nation's a 2 seed, which is shocking.
Well, they didn't see the requirements that we had. They thought that we just picked the 4-1 seeds. So they're going at every other, like they're going at Kansas fans. I saw Kansas and Kentucky fans just going at each other's necks. I'm just trying to say blessed because Carolina was the number 1 seed. So they weren't taking as much material.
This whole bracket should be whoever wins. That's who Drake's going to be a fan of for next year. This should be I think you're right there. I think there's a world in which Drake could get I don't think he's gonna really know what he's tweeting, but I could see Cal tweeting something and be like, "Help us out at Drake," and then Drake just retweets it with like a sub fam or something like that. Like not really knowing what he's doing, but he puts a link out there anyway.
It's just eyes emoji, two blue hearts.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And then people go crazy. They vote. And then Kentucky makes a run, and then they just go, look, it's BBN. This is what we do. This is who we are. Drake's always been a fan of us. You know it. We know it. That's the ultimate fan bracket. I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to get us talking about just it's going to expose and show us some of the best fans and also some of the worst fans. You can say, some of the worst. And I'm excited about that too. I'm excited it's already happening. The fan bases that are snubbed, who can't read. It's illustrating the best and worst parts of Twitter. The best being that you can bring people together for a common cause, which is like, voting for Iowa to beat Dayton, if that's what you believe in or whatever. And it also brings people it also shows the worst in Twitter, which is no one reads anything and pays an ounce of attention to anything and just immediately goes to Twitter and complains about shit when the answers you seek are, if you scroll up and just read the other tweet, you dipshit, it was right in front of your face the whole time. That is the joys of Twitter, Tate. We love it.
So
I'm glad we left this up to them. That's the best.
We left out the best part. If you didn't see the show, the winner of this, we are putting a billboard. Tate and I we're breaking our quarantine. We're going to whatever campus we have to go to. We are personally putting the billboard up ourselves. We're putting up a billboard of the winner gets to put it in the rivals campus at the right by the rivals campus that basically just like says we're better fans than you. So that's what's at stake. We're going to purchase a billboard, and basically just shove it down your rival's throat. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, and we also are gonna get a banner, and we're gonna hang it up in our studio because this is the start of a new tradition. This is where we can actually hang banners that actually matter, and we have some sort of control of.
So like if NC State wins, do they get like 5 billboards? They just get to put it all over. They get to put one on Duke. They get to put one by Carolina.
It's gonna be 30 billboards outside Raleigh, North Carolina, and they're gonna and it's gonna be just like literally one word per billboard. They make a circle of billboards outside Raleigh. It's facing the rest of the world because it's NC State versus the rest of the world. Yes.
It's just a bunch of middle fingers.
But it's paws. It's Wolfpack paws. I think we should just quickly talk about the only actual news and
news and notes. Okay, all right.
Yeah, these are news and notes, which is the most important thing, which we already brought up pretty much, at the top of the show, and it's pretty easy to point out. Matt Harms, who is of the Purdue world and a guy that we both have he was of the class of Purdue West Lafayette that we love. When we were on campus, we saw Matt Harms, the Isaac Haas era before that, the Dakota Mathias years, the Carson, all those guys. And he's the last of them. He's a grad transfer. And apparently he buzzed his hair. So people think he's going to go to, there's a buzz that he may go to Madison, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I don't know about this, but maybe.
No, he's a white dude with a buzz cut. That's like, it's destiny at this point.
Yes.
I think, I actually saw Jeff Borzello of ESPN. He reported that Matt Harms has cut his list down to 25 schools, Tate. So he's getting closer to decision. I think Harms shaving his head is, what's more shocking, Harms shaving his head or leaving Purdue? Because that guy is Purdue basketball. We asked my dad, who's like the guy, who do you hate most? We asked my dad when he was on this program, Tate, what Purdue basketball player throughout your entire life do you hate the most? He said Chris Kramer, and I started laughing, and I was like, no, Dad, that's like too close. Like we want like a different answer. And when I said different answer, what I meant was like a guy when you were in college, or like a guy that from way back in the day, the Gene Katie era. And then he said, no, Matt Harms. And that was his answer. Like, because to so many people, Matt Harms is the face of Purdue basketball, for better or worse. And now that this man is leaving, that's pretty shocking. Also shocking is he shaved his head. I don't know where I stand on which one being more shocking, but strange times we're living in, indeed.
It is honestly hilarious to think about your father only picturing Matt Harms in his head as the Purdue basketball player that is the face of Purdue basketball, which is why I think it's weird that he's going to go somewhere else and play basketball. We always have it. It was even this year at Florida when I was watching Kerry Black's year. You know what I mean? It just felt a little off to me. And when when Mike Daum was thinking about transferring a couple years back, it was weird for me to think about him playing on any other team. He decided to stay and didn't go anywhere else. But for me, Matt Harms, I feel like he still has a change of heart on the way. This is a weird period. This is a weird period of time to make like a big transition like that. Maybe he decides at the last minute, wait a second, Coach Painter.
Yeah.
Come back. I'm in harm's way.
Yeah. The thought is Trevion Williams, who is basically the guy that looks like Caleb Swanigan. If you don't really pay that much attention to Purdue and you just turn the games on, you're like, wait, I thought Caleb Swanigan left. It's that guy. The guy that went absolutely nuts against Michigan this year and had like a few pretty good games. Otherwise, the thought is basically like he's going to be the guy next year. And I guess maybe Harms and Painter talked about it, and Painter's like, yeah, I'm not going to give you what you desire from a basketball perspective. You're not going to get the minutes or the touches you want. So maybe that's what happened. But like you said, I think Matt Harms is going to take a long look in the mirror and be like, who am I?
I am Purdue.
Yeah, I don't look like myself without the hair. I don't look like myself without the black and gold. I got to go back home. Maybe that's what happens. I don't know. He's got his list down to 25, so a decision is coming shortly. We do know that much.
An imminent decision is on the way. Speaking of decisions, I have another funny news and notes story. A guy by the name of Patrick Tate, who is a Columbia transfer. I don't know if you've heard this story or seen this story. So basically, he decided to transfer to Duke. He's a grad. We're in the world of grad transfers. He decides to grad transfer to Duke, and then he announces that he decommits, which, all of the internet goes crazy. And they're like, who did Duke get a commitment from to make this other kid decommit? Did he jump the gun too early? Whatever happened. Later on Sunday night, which is last night. Now we're talking Monday night. He's in Charlotte. He's back home. He's 6'10". He apparently committed over Zoom, which I think obviously is a little probably strange. But anyways, he goes home, thinks about it, talks about it, and then he recommits to Duke. So I don't know what kind of chicanery is going on here, but Patrick Tate, 6'10", grad transfer from Columbia, is going to Duke, which is the replacement, I guess, for your boy who went to Columbus, Ohio.
He was the guy who, when O'Connell transferred and we said, like, Duke's got something going on here.
Yes.
They're going to bring in somebody. We
Yes.
thought it was going to be Seth Towns. It wasn't, but then it was this guy right after Seth Towns decided he was going to Ohio State. And then now he's leaving because they might be upgrading. I don't know. Interesting. It has gotten weird. I'm not going to do the old man rant where I'm like, I don't like transfers, but I don't like transfers from this perspective. It's just hard to keep track of them all. I'm just lazy. That's really it. Like I'm cool with the kids doing what's best for them. It has nothing to do with that. I don't think it's hurting the integrity of the game. What it is hurting, Tate, is my brain trying to follow what guys play for what teams. That's what it hurts. And I just wish guys would take that into account when they're making these decisions because it's hard to keep track.
Let's be honest. Who's not going to take it into account? That's Rick Pitino. There are going to be so many people going in and out of Iona. We will not know who it is, why they're playing there, where they're playing.
Some of them will even be basketball players.
Yes.
You see, Pitino's trying to play. He's trying to schedule a game in Rupp. He wants to play in Rupp Arena, and
in Minnesota, right?
And he's trying to play Minnesota. Yeah.
He'd play his son, so this is always good. This is Iona basketball. This is
remember when Rick Pitino was fired by Louisville and went on, and it did like 7,000 interviews that summer where he basically said, "I'm done coaching. I'll never coach again. This is it."
Yeah.
And then literally all he's done since that media tour is coach basketball. And he's just been angling for like the next job to get, and now he's back at Iona, and now he's telling everyone, "This is my last job. This is a perfect fit for me. This is all I've ever wanted." And everyone's like, "Yeah, I guess this is it for Rick."
And all Rick Pitino was doing was watching the scheme and saying, "Man, LSU's a pretty good job."
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of like LSU.
Oh my god!
There we are. Let's talk about fictional basketball stuff.
All right. Okay.
Do we have anything else in the real world?
There's nothing else going on. I mean, what are we doing here?
But let's be honest. My favorite thing that's still going on, there's like a sense of normalcy you're always trying to find in these times. And one of the things I love to see is Jeff Goodman and John Rothstein and the rest of our college basketball scoopers. And they're like Elias King from Valparaiso has decided not to take a visit to, whatever school, Alabama A&M.
Yeah.
And it's like that's still happening, and that's the only thing that keeps me going.
That's still going on? Like Rothstein is just still Rothstein. He has not changed the wiring of his his robotics. His motherboard is still exactly the same.
Yes, no, it's the Dark Knight has just started again. Like in Best Buy when they have all the TVs, and they have like the one movie and it's just like playing it over and over again. I like to think that's Rothstein has like a wall like that, and it's just playing the Dark Knight, Rise, just like over and over as many times, and he's just texting on different phones the updates. Let's talk about
it's. I mean, it is a weird time because like I feel it because like on the one hand, it seems so bizarre to do that, but on the other hand, like you got to just
you have to
keep the machine. That's kind of what we're doing here. It's like we are
living it.
Yeah, we're at once like, listen, we know what's going on in the world. This is wild that we're pretending to to care about Matt Harms transferring, but at the same time, it's like you can't just sit at home and stare at the wall and. Yeah, I don't know.
You stare at the screens of the Dark Knight that is playing over and over again, and you continue to tweet through it. All
right, well let's do this. Let's this is what the people wanted, or at least one guy. I don't know, or maybe who knows? Maybe it was Kyle that wrote in and wanted this.
Who knows?
Who the hell knows anymore? But someone wanted top 5 fictional basketball players. State is what they wanted from us. So we're gonna give that to them. You want to start? Do you want?
Yes.
Should we do honorable mentions? Should we wait till after to do our honorable mentions?
I think afterwards we do them for our honorable mentions. But first, I want to do. So we're gonna start like 5 and then count down to our number.
Yeah,
1.
five countdown to 1. Yeah.
And these again, like for the people that are asking what these rules are, here are the rules. These are ours. These are mine. These are my top fictional basketball players. Top 5, not anyone else's. Not what I think is the actual list. That is.
Did you do a starting 5, by the way, just for clarity? Is this like an actual starting 5 or no?
No, this is not this is just 5 guys. This is like all-star for me. I just want 5 guys on the floor.
You want the 5? I mean, we are in the positionless era of basketball. Tom Crean invented that at the Maui Invitational this year. So I think you're good in that regard. But
honestly, as I look at my team, it is a very new age team, which is like it's all guards. It's basically all guards, and it's Villanova. This is my Jay Wright top 5 fictional basketball player Jay Wright lineup. Number 5 for me is a guy that I think gets forgotten in the fictional basketball world. He's in a movie that a lot of people would say, "Oh, that's the guy that you would put if you were going to pick that movie," and I say no to that. And that is Coffee Black from Semi Pro, played by Andre 3000, Andre Benjamin. Let me just say, he's a great basketball player. He invents the alley-oop in this movie. He gets to go to the NBA and have a fruitful career, I think, with the Spurs, if I remember correctly. So I'm sure he won a title in the NBA. For some reason, everyone talks about Jackie Moon in that movie. Jackie Moon was not good at basketball. If you watched that movie. And it annoys me when people are like, how do you not include Jackie Moon? It's like, Jackie Moon is literally like, throw me the ball in the post. I don't like it. Toss it back out. We all remember that scene, which means he's not good at basketball. What are you talking about? Coffee Black is good, and he is number 5 on my top 5 list.
So Isaac Haas. He was Jackie Moon was Isaac Haas.
Oh, or I mean, he's Chris Lang. I mean, like it's even worse.
That's a good pick. Okay, my number 5 is Air Bud.
Ooh,
he. Listen, I have a golden retriever, as most friends of the program know, Moses. So I'm impartial there. Like I'm partial to golden retrievers. I mean, there. So we'll start there. But I mean, if you break down the film, the actual Air Bud Tate, and really like dissect this game, the dude has one of the quickest releases we've ever seen in basketball. Like he doesn't even catch the ball. He literally never catches it. You pass it to him, he's got a shot immediately. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely quick release. The quickest release of all time, honestly. He never missed. To my knowledge, I'd have to rewatch the movie, but I'm pretty sure he shot 100% from the field when he was on the floor.
Yes, 100%.
So the concerns you would have would be like, is he a good defender? If you go back and rewatch the tape, he does have a few great defensive plays. So he's not just like a shooter. He can play. He's a 3-and-D guy for sure. And I mean, I would have him higher on the list. The only concern I have is that he was doing it against middle schoolers, and I don't know if his game translates to the next level, Tate. But what we saw from him in Air Bud, especially, and like I know Buddy was trying to I actually don't know this. Were all the other Air Buds, was this supposed to be the same dog?
I think it was all like relatives of the original.
It was relatives? Okay.
It was like a passing of the baton. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then that makes me feel better. Because I was going to say, he got a little distracted with like his career. He spread a little too thin there with some of these other sports he was trying. Yeah. But no, if you go back and watch Air Bud, Buddy was he's just an all-time. He literally never misses, and he has the quickest release. And I think you extrapolate that over the course of an 82-game NBA season. That is, my man's putting up numbers. So I got Air Bud at number 5.
Yeah, I will say this. I mean, honorable mention, I had Air Bud as my honorable mention only for the fact that he was playing against middle schoolers. And I think at some point he was going to say, do I really love this game? Like, am I a joke to all these people?
Well, no, it's fun. Right now it's fun for him, but when it becomes a business, can he still do it? Like, because as we know, professional basketball is a business. It's no longer fun for those guys. So, can he do it night after night after night? And can he handle the grueling schedule? And can he fly across the country and all that kind of play at altitude? We still don't know that. Like, can he play in Utah and Denver on a road trip, like a back-to-back Utah, Denver? I don't know. So that's why I have him at 5. Otherwise, he'd probably be at number 1 if he answers some of those questions. So that's my pick at number 5.
I totally see like the 30 for 30 on Air Bud. That's him getting distracted by other things, and it's like these dark shots, dark and ominous tones, and it's him like playing with toys at home. It's like, too bad Buddy didn't want to go to the basketball facility on some days, like chewing it like a little like toy, making noise, squeak toy. That'd be great. All right, number 4 on my list. You know him as Bow Wow. I know him as Lil Bow Wow. He's Calvin Cambridge, and it's
okay.
Like Mike. And Like Mike came out when I was about 12 years old, and it was right about the right time for me. It was a great story about the orphanage. He gets the shoes. He gets to play for the NBA team, and it's basically like the Clippers is basically the team he's playing for. He balls out. We got all the scenes with AI. There's some great NBA. Vince Carter's in the movie. There's some great NBA scenes in there, which are amazing.
And I'll be honest, I've never seen it, but because I feel like I already saw it without having seen it.
Yes, exactly.
Is it basically like he has magic shoes? It's like basically Rookie of the Year, except instead of having the broken arm, he has magic shoes.
Yes.
Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, and the shoes are like basically like get struck by lightning on like a a telephone wire or whatever, and then he goes and gets them, drops down. He's like never gonna get adopted. He's got friends in the orphanage with him, but me and orphanage, whatever liaison, whatever they call that person, and basically he gets the shoes, balls out, goes and does like a little fan thing, makes all these shots, and then dunks, even though he's like 5 foot nothing. And everyone's like, what? Everyone's like, what? And then he gets signed by the NBA team as like and everyone thinks it's like a sideshow, but then he's actually on the team. And it's actually inside, an NBA team is kind of cool.
What can I guess what NBA team he gets signed by? Because I honest to God don't know. I'm trying to guess what
his team is fake. It's like the LA Stampedes or something like that. Man. I can't remember, but every other team is real. So he goes up against like Allen Iverson, and he goes up against like Vince Carter. Like the games are real, and it's like actually like real, like they're calling the games. They're like in Cambridge, bang, it's crazy. But he balls out. He's number 4 on my list.
Bow Wow like really got into the role. Like he it took him some adjusting. Like after they were done shooting, like he really honestly thought he was one of the best basketball players in the world. And coming back down to earth was tough for Bow Wow. It was a tough adjustment.
No, let me tell you this. When I knew Bow Wow was having a tough time, he started hosting 106 in Park. I used to watch it on BET, and then it was like, and now we got Shad Moss. And I was like, that's Bow Wow. But he was Shad Moss now. Now he's back to Bow Wow.
So you're saying that going by your name, because some guys go like, Dwayne Johnson or Curtis Jackson, like they're going by their name because they are so successful that they've outgrown their identity as The Rock and 50 Cent.
No. What they've done, Mark Titus, is they got in the middle of their names, Dwayne, The Rock, Johnson, Curtis, 50 Cent, Jackson, Shad, Bow Wow, Moss. It never happened.
Never happened. I think the mistake he made was going by Lil Bow Wow at first. You can't be Lil. I mean, I guess it's worked okay for Lil Wayne, but even then, it's kind of not.
It's not.
From my perspective, I'm a big time Lil Wayne hater, as you know, Tate. That the man turned me off rap music forever. And then Drake brought me back. God's plan, baby.
Thank you, Drake.
I think throwing Lil in there at first was a big mistake. It's like your career could only be for a certain number of years, and you can't be like 53-year-old guy with Lil in your name.
It happens with the young crowd as well. Like Young Jeezy, he just dropped it. Now he goes by Jeezy. The same thing will happen with Young Thug. He'll just be Thug. That's the thing with Wayne. Like with Wayne and Thug, you can't just be like Thug.
You can't be Thug. So you got to figure something else out, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's tough.
We'll figure that out on the next podcast. All right. Who's number 4?
My number 4, I had the tandem of Billy Hoyle and Sidney Dean. But I got to pick one. From White Men Can't Jump. I think I'm going Billy Hoyle, and it's tough, but I think Billy Hoyle is better in the movie. Billy beats Sidney in the shooting contest. He also like he's just better throughout the entire movie. Like when Sidney tries to stab him in the back, he's still like balling out. Basically, the one thing that Sidney had on him the entire movie was that Billy couldn't dunk. He couldn't jump. Exactly. He had no athleticism. And at the end of the movie, he does dunk. So I feel like all the questions about who the better player are answered with Billy dunking at the end. But beyond all that, Woody Harrelson could actually play a little bit, and Wesley Snipes, the actors themselves. Wesley Snipes apparently sucks at basketball and sucks at like all things sports. So I'm giving the nod to Billy Hoyle in that regard, but it was kind of, I had him down as a tandem, and I was going to try to figure out which one. And I think I'm going to settle on Billy Hoyle.
Well, you know that's great because I have as my number 3 Sidney Dean, and the reason I have Sidney Dean is because I felt like every single time, I feel like the movie is weighted in Billy Hoyle's favor in the sense, like you said, it's a shooting contest, which is historically Billy Hoyle's going to win that one based on what they're trying to portray.
What do you mean historically? What do you trying to say?
he's a white shooter. You know what I mean? Exactly. Historically. And then, we got the whole dunk mantra. It's like you can't dunk the whole movie. So I'm like, Sidney Dean doesn't get enough credit for the fact that like he's a bulldog out there. Like he's the one that like basically is able to get these games going. And I think push comes to shove, Billy Hoyle doesn't have the confidence out there without knowing that Sidney really has his back. So I gave it to Sidney.
White Men Can't Jump feels like a movie that people would say couldn't be made today, but 100% still could be made today. But like, I could just see people talking about that movie and being like, "Oh man, you couldn't make that today," and And then the rest of society is like, shut the hell up. Yes, you could.
Quick Wesley Snipes story. One time in my past, as a podcast producer, he wanted to come on to defend what you just said about him not being a good basketball player. He wanted to go and give his side of the story, basically. And then he never responded after. Like, that was like the initial email. He reached out, was like, his people were like, Wesley wants to come on and talk about this. He was actually better at basketball than people were willing to claim. I don't know if he's just been I like to think that since that has come out, he's just been practicing, like waiting for someone to like get out there and show it to us, like battle the network stars.
Wesley, come on this show. Let's buy. We should buy counter programming against ESPN showing the NBA guys playing horse. Yes. You versus Wesley Snipes on FS1 at the exact same time as the NBA guys playing horse. Quarantine Tate Frazier versus quarantine Wesley Snipes playing horse.
I have like a little small hoop like in the corner of my room, and if it's like a hoop inside your house and it's me versus Wesley Snipes, I'm 100% in. That's a fact. All right, number 2 for me on the list of top 5 fictional.
Wait, you're at number 2. I didn't even do my number 3.
You just did your number 3. I thought number 3 was Billy Hoyle. Oh no,
that was number 4.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Your number.
My number 3 is Neon Boudreaux from Blue Chips, the Shaq character.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal. If we're doing analytics, he's probably number 1 because like every time he touches the ball, he dunks it in the movie, basically. Which is just he must have. Mm-hmm. He was a Doka Azubuike out there, just drop step dunking on everybody. But he felt a little one-dimensional to me, so I had to bump him down a couple spots. He's number 3. I'm pretty sure he did not miss a single shot the entire movie. Also, Shaq. So I went up and I looked. So the Blue Chips came out in February of 94. And during the 1993-94 season, Shaq averaged 29, 13, and 2.4 assists in the NBA. So that basically like that guy is playing Division I college basketball. I just, in my mind, I just put like that's Neon is Shaq. I mean, the guy's from Louisiana. He's literally played by Shaq. So, Shaq averaging 29 and 13. I figured you throw him in college basketball, he's just destroying everybody. He has the dunk at the very end of the movie. He dunks on number 1 Indiana at the buzzer to beat IU Tate. And the
Bobby Hurley's IU team. By the way.
Bobby Hurley's in. Yeah, he you can make the argument that he ended Bob Knight's career because this was Bob Knight never went to a Final Four again after Neon Boudreaux dunked all over IU's face at the buzzer. So those are some of the bullet points I had written down for Neon, but he's my number 3.
I love that. And it's funny because as I was going through this list, I had him as like one of my candidates, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to do Blue Chips because, we already have the Friends of the Program thing. People, I was like, is it too close? People know we like Blue Chips. We talked about it before. But then also, if you don't have Neon on the list, then you're wrong. So we needed that. So I appreciate that. All right, number 2 on my list. He honestly, there was like 3 MJs in my life that I loved at one time, and one of them was Michael J. Fox, and he is Scott Howard in Teen Wolf, and he's number 2 on my list. And let me just tell you, as someone growing up watching movies from the 80s and the 90s, because that's what we did in North Carolina, Teen Wolf was one of my favorite movies. Styles was one of my favorite characters. It was the dream of everyone to go to to high school, be on your basketball team, have these amazing moments, live this, just like Indiana and North Carolina. We have similar high school basketball lineage and stories and moments. And Teen Wolf's all about that. And when Teen Wolf is on the court, he's basically unstoppable. When he's not on the court, it's egregious. It's some of the worst basketball scenes actually you'll ever see if you really watch the movie. It's so bad that it's almost like a joke. It's like a play. It's like a live like Broadway play, and they're playing basketball. But Scott Howard's still beautiful within it. He makes the easy play. He makes the right plays, makes the easy plays, and he makes the winning plays, and that's why he's number 2 on my list.
I will say for Blue Chips, that's a nod to Blue Chips. Is that I think Blue Chips might be the best basketball movie in terms of like the actual sequence, or the actual plays happening in the film. It kind of helps that they got actual NBA players and actual like high major Division I players to be in the movie. But that's what makes Blue Chips awesome. I did not have Teen Wolf on my list. I felt like it's hard to separate the two because like who are you picking here? Are you picking what's his name? Scott, right?
Scott Howard, yeah.
Scott Howard, yeah. Are you picking Scott or are you picking the Wolf? Are we picking?
You're picking the Wolf. You're picking the Wolf. You're picking a pack. It's package deal. In the same way that you have, Billy Hoyle and Sidney Dean. I have Scott Howard / the Wolf. That's it.
Okay. I like it. My number 2 might be surprising to you, Tate. I don't know. We'll see here in a second. But I before I get to the pick, I want to say so to this point, I've been ranking guys just based on their you measure their impact just based on what they're doing on the actual court and what we see from them on the court. My number 1 and my number 2 guys both had to be number 1 and number 2 for me because they there's real life consequences they are so good that they trigger real life consequences with people. So I'm gonna preface that by saying that, and I'm gonna say my number 2 is Jimmy Chitwood. And the reason, listen, Neon Boudreaux is a much better basketball player than Jimmy Chitwood. There's no doubt about that. But Jimmy Chitwood was not playing for Hickory, Tate. Mm-hmm. The entire town, literally the entire town, every single person in this town, they called a town hall meeting to fire the head basketball coach. And the only way that the head basketball coach saved his job was because Jimmy Chitwood said, I'll play on the team. Mm-hmm. That man has a ton of power. I know it's small town Indiana, so it's not we're not talking big legislation here, but still this went beyond the stuff you're willing to do off the court to get this guy to have him play speaks volumes. As far as I know, Neon did not garner that much attention. He was not, he was just getting, what did Neon get in Blue Chips? I forget. Did he get Penny's mom got the house. Ricky, yeah, that was Rick. The white tractor.
He was in the military base, right? When did
he just get the cash? I forget. I haven't seen that movie in a couple of years.
I think the cash.
Yeah, I have to rewatch it. People are yelling at us how can you love Blue Chips and not remember what Shaq got? But
blame the quarantine. I've been watching too many other things. I got so much stuff fresh on my mind.
Together. I watched The Scheme and it blended in with the storyline of Blue Chips. Jimmy Chitwood, he's on my list for that reason. Without Jimmy Chitwood, Hickory is garbage. He joined the team, they won the state title. And he's got the purest. The other thing I would say, Tate, is that Jimmy Chitwood, the reason I put him above Neon, even though Neon's probably a better player, is that Jimmy Chitwood's legacy, that one guy has sparked an entire identity for an entire state, right? The Pacers literally wear Hickory jerseys. The Indiana Pacers in sanctioned NBA games wear jerseys that say Hickory because Hoosiers matters so much to people of Indiana that the Pacers pay homage to the movie Hoosiers. So in that regard, Jimmy's influence is much, much greater than Neon. So I had to put him above Neon.
Yeah,
but he's not number 1. He's not
number 1, but I also appreciate that because again, Jimmy Chitwood is not on my list. But that was because again, I have I grew up with a disdain because, like you said, Indiana is the hoop state because of that movie, because of Jimmy Chitwood. They are the originators of this whole thing. So I always just had to, I was like, whatever, Hoosiers, I get it. But I like Jimmy Chitwood, and he's a primetime player, as Dick Vitale would yell into our ears if he were on this program.
Smooth J too. He's got not only did his whole storyline reflect Indiana well, just his actual shooting form is very Indiana, which I always appreciate as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Finally, my number 1 on my list, which is my favorite basketball movie outside of the animated world and outside of my favorite basketball player being able to be a star in it, because there was a little technicality where I thought maybe I could put it as my number 1 top 5 fictional basketball player is Michael Jordan, because again, he did play, in the Looney Tune world, you know what I mean? So he played in Looney Tune land. So I don't know. But anyways, my actual number 1 is from He Got Game, and it's Jesus Shuttlesworth. And the reason he is my number 1 is because, one, in the movie, the best basketball player ever on the planet says, and I quote the name of the movie, He Got Game. Michael Jordan says that in the movie about Jesus Shuttlesworth. He sees him play. He goes, He got game. And you talked about Hoosiers representing Indiana. I think He Got Game in Big State, which is where Rick Fox, a.k.a. Chick Deegan, is giving the tour to Jesus Shuttlesworth, and he's showing him, this is what it's like to go to a big public university. These are the highlights. This is what it's like to be big man on campus. I think North Carolina identifies with that at some level. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's the full level, but Spike Lee would say it was the full level. And for that movie, I enjoyed watching it from that point of view and seeing the real journey for someone that is a Jesus Shuttlesworth, and then have his father Jake, played by Denzel Washington. That game at the end when they play each other, it's such a great game, such a great moment, such a great movie. And I feel like that story and that character got kind of solidified as one of the best basketball players in fictional land because Jordan goes, oh, he got game.
Yeah, there's that. There's also his name is literally Jesus, which you know we
little on the nose, but
a little too on the nose. Yeah, a little too on the nose, but I like the direction they're going with it. My number one is also Jesus Shuttlesworth. We're in agreement, Tate. I had Jesus listed. And much like Jimmy Chitwood got the entire town of Hickory to band together, and then saved his coach's job. Jesus Shuttlesworth, like think about this for a second. The governor of New York basically let a murderer out of prison, all to get Jesus Shuttlesworth to go to his alma mater. Like that was how good Jesus Shuttlesworth was. That's all I really need to know. Like I don't even need to see the movie. I have seen the movie. I've seen it many times. But if you just told me that right there, I'm like, all right, that guy, that has to be a great basketball player for that to happen. And that's pretty much it. That's the only point I wanted to make with this is that Jesus Shuttlesworth got the governor of New York. His father, you said Denzel Washington, Jake, played by Denzel Washington.
Yeah,
murders his mom, like accidentally, but I mean at the same time on purpose. Yes. Yeah, pushed her on purpose, killed her accidentally. He's in prison for killing his wife.
Yes, and he gets
the governor of the state says, "I will let you out if you can get your son to come play 1 year of college basketball." Was that the deal? Just any college, just sign a letter of intent. Period. That's insane. That's absolutely insane, and speaks to how good he was. So he has to be my number one at that point.
And it also speaks to the fact that like the hyperbole of college basketball could get to that level, and people still be like, "Yeah, that's believable."
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like what is this? Would this even be the most egregious instance of like politics seeping into college basketball? I don't even think it would be. I mean, this is
If that was a true story and Ray Allen's name was Jesus Shuttlesworth and this was a real story, Ray Allen would probably be the biggest star in basketball still to this day. You know, he would be on TV every other day. We'd be talking to him, asking him stories. Tell us about that game with your dad one more time.
So your top five were Jesus Shuttlesworth at 1, Scott Howard / Teen Wolf at 2, Sidney Dean at 3, Calvin Cambridge at 4, Coffee Black at 5.
Yes.
I had Jesus Shuttlesworth at 1. I had Jimmy Chitwood at 2. I had Neon Boudreaux at 3, Billy Hoyle at 4, and Buddy, aka Air Bud, at 5. Which, you know, I still stand by. I think Air Bud. What are the honorable mentions? What did you have on your list? Because I had a lot of the ones that you had on your list. I had Scott. So I had a PED list, and I had a list of guys that I felt like could be on there, but I felt like they were using PEDs. One of them was Scott Howard. I felt like the Wolf was like a PED. I felt like if you take away his abilities with the Wolf, I know that plays the last game as himself.
Yes, he has the confidence. Yeah.
But I mean, you do like a whole big picture thing. When he's not the Wolf, I don't know if that's enough for me to crack the top 5. So I felt like the Wolf was clearly PEDs. I mean, it's clearly something's going on there. I had Kenny Tyler from 6 Man. I felt like the ghost of his brother was also PEDs. I felt like he's a good player, but like having your brother helping you out, having the ghost like guide the ball into the basket, PED stuff. I had the entire Toon Squad listed, but Michael's Secret Stuff also PEDs.
PEDs,
that's PEDs.
Yeah. Lola Bunny was on my honorable mention list.
Yeah,
honorable mention list.
But they're on PEDs. I don't want them to get busted. And then I had the guys the basketball game from Flubber, but they also had PEDs and putting the Flubber on your shoes. That's some trickery going on there. So Air Bud, as you might remember, Tate, there's no rule that says a dog can't play basketball. So that's on the up and up. That's above board. That one's good. But those are some of my honorable mentions.
And my last one, I guess, is PEDs as well. Joanna Man. And I think that's also PEDs because that's WNBA. So I think if you really look at the list, it was really everyone that we didn't list had some sort of reason. And I didn't do blue chips just because it was too close to the vest.
It was too, I did. I had Will Smith listed too, but then I went back and watched the tape on him from Fresh Prince. I went back and watched the tape. I don't even think he was playing basketball. I don't even think it's fair to call what that was basketball. I mean, they're playing on a tiny court. The backboards are like from the 1920s. They're not even rectangular. It's ridiculous. And then he literally there's the one play where they on the opening tip he's jumping center. They throw the ball up. He jumps up, catches it, pump fakes from half court, or just does a double pump from half court and makes it. And to me, I'm watching that and I'm saying, this is not basketball. Whatever this is not basketball. He's great at it. I will give him that. Tip of the cap. If we were doing like a list of best athletes, maybe I'm putting him on there because he was very dominant, but that's not basketball. And then the last fictional basketball player I had on my list as an honorable mention was George Mikan. Yeah. Who, I've heard great things. I'm not sure he's a real guy, but I mean, think about it.
Do the drill.
He has a drill name. Have you ever seen a George Mikan highlight tape ever in the history of?
Well, honestly, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the people that were writing for Fresh Prince or like the set design team, they watch like Wilt Chamberlain highlights. They're like, "This is what basketball is," and it was Wilt Chamberlain towering over everyone, just like tipping the ball to himself, like dunking, like he was like, and they're like, "Yeah, so Will's just got to play on like a miniature size court, I guess. I don't know. It's got to look like this. This is basketball." I feel like that's what it was, because he was also a consideration for mine, and then I was like, it's not. It can't count. It just can't count.
Oh, there it is. That was good. Yeah. All right. Cool.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.